Somali pirates are back on the attack. On the evening of April 26th, the Egyptian merchant vessel Sword was hijacked by armed men a few miles off the Somali coast. It was steered towards an anchorage near the port of Garacad in Puntland, a semi-autonomous state in northeastern Somalia. Over the following days, further armed men joined the Sword, as well as an interpreter tasked with negotiating a ransom with the shipowner. At the time of writing, the ship remains under pirate control. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated event. Two oil tankers, the Palau-flagged Honor 25 and the Togo-flagged Eureka, were seized around the same time and redirected towards the Puntland coast. Somali pirate groups have also hijacked several ocean-going dhows, traditional sailing vessels, as motherships in recent weeks, enabling them to remain at sea for weeks and launch attacks far from the coast. Together, these incidents have sparked concern over whether we're seeing a resurgence of Somali piracy. Between 2005 and 2012, Somali pirates carried out more than 1,000 attacks on foreign ships. They successfully hijacked 218 vessels and took over 700 sailors hostage. Ship owners paid around $50 million £37 million in ransoms per year over this period, while the associated loss of trade and increased security measures cost the global economy up to $18 billion. Since then, Somali piracy has been kept in check by a combination of private security guards, naval patrols, and land-based development initiatives. But very few pirate kingpins face trial, and their broader supply and support networks were never dismantled. The recent cases suggest they were merely dormant. So, could the hijack for ransom business model now be resurrected? There are three reasons for concern. First, piracy has always had a political dimension. In our 2014 research on the local dynamics of Somali piracy, we found that peaks in local pirate activity coincided with periods of political turmoil and military contest. Somalia's constitutional crisis. And, unfortunately, Somalia is currently in constitutional crisis. In March, the federal government postponed the 2026 general election without due process. It also recently ordered the dissolution of the newly elected parliament in Somalia's southwest state and forcibly replaced its leadership. Meanwhile, Israeli recognition of the self-declared Republic of Somaliland in December 2025 has led to new regional alliances between Arab states and Mogadishu. Saudi Arabia, in particular, sees Somalia's territorial integrity as essential to security in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. Distrust and skirmishes between Somalia's various regions and its federal government led local elites in the states of Puntland and south-central Somalia to turn to piracy to fund military and political campaigns between 2005 and 2012. They may well be tempted to do so again. The second driver of piracy is poverty. Rising food, fuel, and fertilizer costs, coupled with the Trump administration's abrupt dismantling of U.S.-funded development programs, are causing widespread misery in Somalia. Humanitarian aid. U.S. humanitarian assistance to Somalia dropped from $467 million in 2024 to $70 million a year later, with just $3 million coming from the U.S. government in the first 3 months of 2026. Many people in Somalia are desperate for new income streams. In Puntland and South Central's coastal areas, pirate groups are remembered as big and generous employers that shared their revenues broadly to create the necessary land-based support for their business. This route passes along the Somali coast. Risks for pirates are also suddenly lower. Many of the naval vessels that previously patrolled the area have been redeployed towards the Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz. This means that pirates can station themselves on hijacked dhows for longer without being detected or challenged and wait for a target to present itself. Faced with escalating costs, fewer ship owners are also currently investing in expensive counter-piracy measures or travel at sufficiently high speed to put off potential hijackers. For those who can afford them, armed private security teams have proved an effective deterrent. Yet those who cannot return fire when pirates approach struggle to evade capture. What will happen next? Initially, what happens next will depend on how the current hijacks proceed. Pirates rely on ransoms for reinvestment and to attract young men into their no-win, no-fee contracts. Fast and generous payments. The pirates have demanded $10 million for the Eureka may free the captive ships, but they will lead to escalating risks for everyone else. Marine insurers can drive shipping traffic away from Somalia's coast by declaring the Somali Basin a high-risk area, once again, as they did in 2008. This will further inflate costs for consumers. No state or alliance also currently has the will or capacity to run a naval mission on the scale seen in 2011 and 2012, when navies worldwide spent more than $1 billion annually on counter-piracy operations off Somalia. Although piracy manifests as a sea-based problem, it can only be solved on land. Building infrastructure that fosters regional trade and local development is a better approach than trying to control piracy at sea. The economic damages caused by higher trade and naval enforcement costs are orders of magnitude greater than what pirates have to offer to their communities.